I'm here at the Human Rights Discussion Panel, part of the Education Under Fire series event.
Right now in Iran, thousands of people are sitting in the confines of 4 prison walls because of their beliefs. Many thousands are denied access to higher education because of their religion. And thousands more would long to freely attend and be here with us tonight, with no fear of reproach by their government. But in the same country, there are also millions who are courageously, in their own unique way, forging a path for a new and free Iran. Through the arts and sciences, through organized democracy movements, through causes for the advancement of women's rights, economic equity, ethnic and religious minority freedoms, Iranians today are not simply sitting back as passive victims. Rather, they are in many senses modeling for us what tomorrow's Iran can look like.
First of all, note that the Baha'i people are not recognized as a legitimate religious group in Iran. Rather, they are treated strictly as political subversives, not members of a legitimate religion. And the only time they're referred to in respect to religion is as heretics who are preaching a deviant form of Islam which cannot be tolerated because it threatens the security and the viability of mainstream Muslim Shiism inside Iran.
These sort of conflicts are not about age-old hatreds which invariably result in some sort of spontaneous outburst of violence. They are very carefully prepared, deliberate instruments by which political elites elevate themselves to positions of power. So the reality was that this was all mythology which rationalized violence through the creation of a homogenized identity. Homogenization of identity is not about reality, it's about control. But what's interesting is that the Islamic Republic has taken what was a traditional, grassroots, highly decentralized religious order that lasted 5 centuries and centralized it into the apparatus of a modern authoritarian state.
This is a really big problem, obviously. I think all of you know that having access to an education is the key to social mobility and moving within society, and also to participate in a way that's meaningful to you. Not everyone goes to university, obviously, and not everyone needs to, but for the most part, having access to it is really, really important to everyone, and particularly to those in the Baha'i community who are promoting the equality of men and women and promoting the interests of women as educators. And so having their young people barred from education was a real issue. Now, when I say that the government knew about this university, it's because it was under very, very careful surveillance. There were raids that were happening periodically in which equipment was confiscated, and the equipment that was very, very precious to this university, that included something as simple as a photocopy machine. Now here we take it for granted, we can go anywhere and photocopy anything. Well, you can photocopy anything, but you need to have a machine in order to do that. And to have it confiscated meant that hundreds of your students would not have access to any kind of material to study. These young people loved Iran so much. They were proud in some ways to be there, you know, exercising this act of resistance because they had the right to study. This is not something illegal that they were doing under the Charter of Human Rights that Iran signed. Baha'is have the right to higher education. They were just stripped of that right, and these young people were going ahead and doing what they could.
The evidence of hate propaganda is compelling, and I think we seriously need to consider more pressure on the government of Iran, and also if that economic pressure is not successful, then we may need to resort to other measures. in order to protect the Baha'i from annihilation. I would say in case of any conflict in the future involving attacks on Iran, either because of the Straits of Hormuz being blockaded or because of the nuclear weapons program that it is developing, the Baha'i are at great, great risk for survival.
Is there anything you'd like to say to our CUTV viewers out there about education under fire?
Sure, I would encourage them all to come tomorrow if they can. Support the campaign. Go on the website educationunderfire.com and sign the petition that will generate 7 more letters to government officials in Iran, and really talk about it. Even if you don't do anything, but just talk about it so that it raises awareness with more and more people.